who that actually is?
Yeah,
I feel really bad. I'm gonna feel real bad if it's somebody that I should recognize.
I mean, that'd be a good tag.
SpankyJ?
Definitely
Yeah, I
SpankyJ.
do not know this guy, but he's Mario, and we saw some Mario stuff before. Mario's got some good stuff on Rob.
Definitely.
The cape can pretty much reflect all of his projectiles. Rob is big, so a lot of his combos will extend on Rob, get a couple of more hits, build damage really fast. So we will see how SpankyJ utilizes what Mario has against this Rob.
Definitely. When I think about the pure range game, I think that Rob really does have the upper hand. But Ali even demonstrated as soon as you go through the initial walls that the opponent sets up, that's when Mario really starts to find his following. And speaking of following, so far, when we look at the initial exchange, it's SpankyJ. He's given away one of his cards that he's going to be using jumps to get around the top. And I think that that's going to be something that Mr. Eric will be picking up on to find a punish in the future.
I really think that he can take advantage of that because empty hops are something that Rob can punish a lot with that quick forward air. And also, he doesn't necessarily, he can throw out the top and then throw out the laser and cover. Like, if you automatically are going to be jumping over this top, you're going to eat lasers, and that's going to put you off stage, and that's going to put you in an edge guard situation. And Mr. Eric, very good off stage.
You know, the top as a talking point is very important because even if Mr. Eric doesn't actually get a connection with it, it still controls so much of the stage, and it really limits some of the mobility options that Spanky will have in the matchup.
And, I mean, talking about the stage selection here, this is actually quite a neutral stage because with Mario with the top, he's going to be able to cover a lot of, like, approaches that Mario has because he can throw the top out and hide under a platform. But on the other end, Battlefield's platforms extend a lot of Mario's combos, so this is actually really smart getting to Battlefield for both of these players.
Yeah, there's a lot of give and pull in favor of both players and both characters as well, which explains why we're seeing such a relatively close game. That grab will make it within 9%. Now, at this kind of position, who do you think is at advantage?
Well,
now
it's Mario. But I was going to say Mario earlier, too, because he has that up smash. It covers so much, it's intangible. You know, it's very, very strong option. And unfortunately, because of Rob's size, he is a little bit more prone to that. He has to watch his hurt boxes.
That's right, but here's the retort. Trying to find the up air. Not able to get it quite yet. That air dodge was perfect from SpankyJ. Mr. E having a difficult time at this moment actually cleaning out the stock. We're seeing another air dodge come out.
Yeah, Mr. Eric, one thing that we haven't really seen him use a lot is, we've seen a lot of grabs, and that will not do it, okay. But he kind of lit the, like you said in the pregame, he kind of lit the venue on fire last year with his ability to get, like, top into, like, spikes and stuff like that. Because if you don't know, the top, whatever way that you're facing when you throw it is the way that the person goes when they hit it.
And a big part of that is because we haven't seen Spanky actually forced into the corner yet. So much of this has been such a fight for the 50-yard line that we haven't seen it get to those corner-oriented battles.
It's almost like when the puck drops in hockey. Like it's a face-off, and they're just staying center stage and fighting over that little bit of real estate.
Well, just as we say it, it's very quickly become that corner battle. We're seeing Mr. Eric again take to the skies. He's not at a high enough percent where he's afraid of that anti-air up smash being a real factor.
Oh, that's the first time we saw the top on the edge, and we haven't seen how Spanky deals with that. We're unsure if he knows how to deal with that particular situation. A lot of players don't. They panic a little bit because that top's chilling and get killed for it.
Dash attack now from Spanky. He's putting up an excellent performance against the #1 seed in this pool.
Yeah, he took the first stock, and now they're both at high percent. Mr. Eric's going to have to be very careful and watch out for smashes.
Beautiful empty land into the grab.
Saw the beep boop. Mr. Eric definitely likes to beep. He definitely likes to boop, and that we saw. That's actually the first time he got that conversion, and that's all he needed was just one time to take the game in his favor.
Yes, I think his opponent was certainly expecting the aerial, which is probably why he turtled up in shield. And Mr. Eric said, no, my win condition is not coming with an aerial. It's just getting this grab.
Yeah, and that's what he got. And then, you know, before that moment, Spanky had been doing such a good job at air dodging, at jumping out of stuff, and that time he was just a couple of frames too slow. And that's going to be the difference between winning and losing, is a couple of frames in Smash. Going to not Battlefield, excuse me. We were at Battlefield, now we're on Final Destination.
Man, I get confused sometimes too, because this is very much a Battlefield.
Yeah.
I mean, half of it's on fire, for God's sake.
Yeah, it's Soul Calibur, the stage.
Yeah, it really is.
So JV, how do you feel about Final Destination as a stage? Like, obviously we have projectiles for both sides, but who do you think has the advantage here?
You know, that's really hard to say, to be honest. I think that On one hand, Mario won't have as strong of a combo game here, but whenever I look at the way that Spanky did combo, he didn't utilize the platforms all that much. There's a good chance that he's actually trying to avoid platforms so he doesn't get tombstone, for instance, because if we look at the first stock of that last game, Mr. Eric had a tough time actually closing out with the beat boop.
And that's actually a really good point. I think that is something that Spanky notices, that he's like, you know what, these Battlefield platforms normally help Mario, but the way I've been able to get in on Mr. Eric is not with extensive combos. He's been getting his damage very honestly, and with Battlefield, or excuse me, oh my gosh, I did it again. With Final Destination not having any platforms to give him, you know, a lift into the air, it's going to be even more difficult for Mr. Eric to get that beat boop that he finished the first game off with.
Certainly. I mean, there's what works on paper, and then there's what works in-game, and that's where we're seeing Spanky starting to lean. Right now, incredibly close game. Mr. Eric looking for the beat boop, and he's going to come up short again. We've seen Spanky go for this air dodge so many times. I'm expecting a delay from Mr. Eric here. And no delay and no air dodge either from Spanky. That time just going straight for the jump.
Good mix-up game there from Spanky, realizing that he might have been air dodging one too many times, and cognizant. Oh, he reflects the top!
Yeah, you're saying cognizant. He was so ready for that projectile coming in. But not ready for that one, unfortunately, actually covering the roll option. Mr. Eric, he did get a lot of leverage off of the empty landing. I think he's throwing out these tops now to condition Spanky into going into shield so he can set up for another situation like that.
And we're going to see, good use of the top there, making him recover low, but wasn't able to get the edge guard. That's actually something that I really like from Mr. Eric, as recently he has done a quite admirable job at mixing up pretty much everything he does. And Spanky taking the first stock again!
That's ridiculous, and that's how much of a factor Rage really is. We're noticing that even though Spanky was down by so much, because he had max Rage on deck, that back throw at that position would be enough. But Mr. Eric answering back so quickly. We're at a dead even game for this critical game too.
That big hot booty from Rob. Setting the world ablaze and taking out Mario's first stock here. But, I mean, Mr. Eric can play a little bit calmer, I think, because he has the game lead right now, so he doesn't have to try as hard as Spanky. Spanky's back's up against the wall here. He doesn't want to lose his first game in this pool.
I was going to talk about on how a grab from Spanky could make the game back in his favor, but all the grabs have been coming from Mr. Eric. That was 2 grabs in a row, and Spanky hasn't been able to find an answer for this damage deficit that is building up.
Yeah, Mr. Eric has been completely avoiding grabs from Mario. He's just like, you know what, it's fine if you want to hit me with nairs, if you want to hit me with up airs, all this kind of stuff, but no, I'm not letting you get in, I'm not letting you combo my big robot booty.
The projectile mix-ups from Mr. Eric have been wonderful to watch as well. Up tilt into the up air, it's not going to get the stock, but things are just looking so tough because Mr. Eric has been mixing up whether he's throwing the top down or directly at Spanky. Spanky is not having as favorable of reactions in regards to those projectiles being tossed his way.
He's, because of the mix-up game with the top, he's conditioning him into shield, and when you're, you know, a lot of people say shield is what wins you the game, is if you know how to leverage that, but if you get trapped in shield, that means you're not doing anything offensively, and when you're down, and you have to be able to do things offensively, and Eric is completely shutting that down.
Really shutting that down. Now, he was in this spot before where he had such a huge percent lead, and all Spanky needed was a grab. Let's see if Mr. Eric can cash out this stock when he needs to here, or if Spanky is going to have another miraculous turnaround.
We're going to see up throw here. And that'll do it.
No platforms necessary. Spanky, I mean, he's not happy about it, but doing that well against the #1 seed is something you can certainly put on the resume.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that Spanky has to be, like you said, very happy with, because that means that when he goes into all the rest of his matches in this round-robin pool, he's going to have that confidence. He's like, I almost beat the #1 seed. I can beat anybody.
You need that. Especially in a round-robin, you need that, where every single match is so important. So very important. And every game is so important.
And it's like, you know, you drop one, and it's like, okay, like, I can come back from this. So